Hello fellow wine lovers, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're gonna talk about port wine, one of the best fortified wine in the world that comes from Portugal, port precisely. We're gonna check it out, how they make it, the many different styles available in the market right now. We're gonna also taste a red vintage port 2005, beautiful, and we're gonna also try to understand how to pair, what to pair with this fabulous red port. So let's start immediately, let's not waste any more time. So in the past video we have checked how they make Madeira wine from Portugal as well, link in the description, and sherry also, link in the description as well. So please have a look to that videos as well if you are if you have a great love for these fortified wines as I have. So today instead we're going to talk about port wine. So how they make port wine. So first of all, it comes from Portugal, as I mentioned, from the Douro Valley, Douro River, and where they cultivate the main grapes variety. There are Touriga Nacional, Tinta Roriz, Susaus, Touriga Franca, and so on. So they blend all these grapes together according to the style of the quinta or the estate, and then they produce port. So how they make it port? So they harvest, then they use some lagares, that are some concrete square rectangular vats where they press the grapes. They used to press it with the bare feet, but nowadays I believe they change it for some more hygienic method, but sometimes they still do it for some tourists, I believe, and then they vinify the juice. Okay, so they let ferment the wine, usually between 24 and 36 hours. When they reach the 36 hours of fermentation, they add agua ardente. Agua ardente is a kind of brandy, neutral brandy, white brandy, that basically fortified the juice and the wine that is fermenting and stop the fermentation and kills the yeast. So in this way you stop the fermentation and you have a high residual sugar with a high ABV. Okay, so in this way they stop the fermentation and they have the base of the port. So this is in a very simple way how they make how they may produce the port in the first stage. Okay, then they put it to age the port, and now we're gonna see the many different styles. So port has a very long history. They started to produce this kind of fortified wine for the English market years and years ago, and basically still now England and all Great Britain is the main market, and indeed the main families, they all speak English, they all have great connection with London and the whole UK. So then we have seen now how they make and briefly the main history behind port wine. Then if you are interested to dig deeper, please have a look in the story of the port. There are a lot of documentations regarding this fortified wine. So anyway, so they have two main styles they can create. So there is the tawny port, and then there is the ruby red port that today we're gonna try also. So the tawny port, when they create the base wine that you have seen before how they make it, they put it in cask, in barrels, okay, and they leave it there for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Okay, so the wine goes through this barrel aging process and oxidation. Okay, so you have the wine that becomes very mellow, becomes rich in bakery notes and toasty notes from the barrels. Longer it stays, more velvety becomes. Okay, so that is the tawny port that are very beautiful, very elegant. Many great producers are Taylor's, Graham's, just to mention the two probably biggest. Quinta do Vesuvio, Quinta da Rosa. There are many Fonseca. There are many produce beautiful tawny port. Then we have the other style, that is the ruby port. Okay, so this works slightly different. They age the wine only for few years in barrels, and then they bottle it, okay, and then they leave it to age in bottle for a long time before release. So you have two completely different styles. So here in the red style, instead the one that we are gonna try today, you have much more fruit character, where instead in the tawny port you have much more bakery notes, spicy notes. Okay, so that are the two main difference. So moreover, within these two categories there are many sub micro categories. As I said, there is the ruby red port that usually is without any mentioning of the vintage. It's good for an early consumption. Then you have the vintage red port, that is the one of my favorites, it's the one that we are gonna try today. And then here you need to check usually the vintages. Not in all the vintages they produce these wines, because of course they have to source only the best grapes, and usually they come from a specific single vineyard or estate, let's say. So two different profiles. Then there is also the ABV late bottle vintages. There is the crusted one, there is the Garrafera, and so on. So there are many different ones, but mainly you need to understand that there are two macro categories. So if you are enjoying this video and my channel, please consider subscribing to my channel and give the like. So this will help me a lot, will support me a lot in making more videos in the future. What is this channel about? So this channel is about you. First of all, I want to give you the best recommendation from a professionist sommelier, the best hidden wine gems of the world. We're gonna try some fabulous wine that maybe are not yet super well known, but also the super well known wine. I have a series where you can find the top most expensive wines from many different countries that you should try once in a lifetime at least. So if this is the channel you are looking for, subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. And so with me today I have Warres Quinta do Cavadinha Vintage Port 2005 that you can see here also with me. So 2005 was a good vintage. I don't want to say that it was a stellar vintage. This is an estate founded in the 1670s, so very rich in history. Belongs to the Symingtons group. I hope I pronounced it well. That also they have Graham, so very big group behind. And so we're gonna try. It is a red vintage port. So I have it with me in a kind of port glass, as you can see. So very intense and red and dark in color, rich in dark black fruits like plum. You have a little bit of dark cherry as well, a little bit of figs. And then you have a little bit of spices as well due to the 2 years in cask. So in today's video I decided to do it in the sofa on my living room, because that is where I see the best appreciation, the best enjoyment for this kind of wine. So in the end of the day, when you are watching a movie or you are reading a book in your sofa, that's where I see this wine working very nicely. Anyway, you can also have it soon, we're gonna see, with some food, but for my taste I will have it by itself on the sofa in the end of the day. So anyway, let's try it now, let's taste it. So quite rich in alcohol, as you can see. We have big tears. As I said, it's a lot of spices. Sweet, of course, quite sweet. There is a high residual sugar. I didn't check exactly now at the moment the right amount of sugar left. They don't mention it usually. 20% ABV, so it's quite alcoholic. I see now, I can feel the alcohol coming up. It's a wine that you can have a glass after dinner, maximum 2, I will say. And you have all these kind of darker fruits. I really feel it, with a touch of spices. Very long, very persistent. I feel a lot of plum still. Very, very beautiful. A bit of coffee as well, tobacco. Very, very complex, I would say. Beautiful to have it also eventually with some chocolate. You can have it, or eventually also with some cheeses, especially blue cheese or hard and rich cheeses. These work very, very nicely. Soon, but anyway, they say that comes from the Pinhao River, so it's one of the branch of the Douro River, at 180 meters above sea level to 440 meters. They have the vineyards in these kind of terraces that are beautiful. So Quinta Cavadigna, southeasterly facing, produce fragrant and aromatic wines with great richness and structure, and I have to agree with that. Rare in the Douro Valley, the perspective and variation in altitude of the Quinta's vineyard give it vintage port unrivaled complexity, balance and elegance. And I have to say it is very complex, quite balanced and elegant, because I have very, very long finish, quite velvety also. It has potential to mature in bottle up to 25 years, and they also suggest to decant it before serving. I'm gonna give you then at the end of the video some tips on how to enjoy these wine. So as all the fortified wines, you don't have to drink it immediately. You don't have the issue that the wine will spoil quickly. So once you open the wine, you can leave it in the bottle for quite some time, because they added alcohol on that. So I would say that easily up to a month it lasts very nicely. In this case, in the wine that we have tried, 2005 Quinta Cavadigna, they suggested to decant it. Why? Because the red vintage port, or the ABV, or the crusted port, the red branch of the two macro categories, usually they are unfiltered, and therefore there is some sediment in there. So if you decant it, you are able to open it up faster, of course, put oxygen into the wine, but also you're going to separate the sediment from the wine. I personally prefer to leave it in the bottle. When I'm coming to the end, I don't mind to have some sediment in the glass, but anyway, I'm carefully pouring it. So now is the time of the question of the day. Which is your favorite port? Are you more a Townies port lover, or more a ruby red port lover, maybe vintage red port lover? Let me know in the description below. Share also your experiences, the producer that you have tried and that you love, with the YouTube's community, so we can all gain more information and maybe try in the future the same bottles you have tried. The wines that I tried, the Warres Quinta Cavadigna Vintage Port 2005, you can find in the market for an average price between $40 to $50, so it's not very, very expensive. It is quite affordable for this kind of wine, of course. And but there are many examples. I mean, I found this wine a very good price, vintage. I like it. Check the vintages if you buy a vintage port. Not all the vintages are stellar or good. And please also text me if you want. If you want to have some info in the description below, there is my email. You can find also in the comments below. You can ask me some questions. I'm very happy to reply to you all. So if you liked this video, please consider subscribing. Click the notification bell so you won't miss any new video, and smash the like button. So this will help me a lot with the YouTube algorithm. So I hope to see you also in the next video. In the meantime, have fun and drink well. Ciao!